What's up, guys? I'm the voice behind the helmet, and today I'll be doing a review on this 2016 KTM. It's actually a 390, so if you guys checked in on my last review, I did a review on an R3. So this is the competing class that this bike is actually in. Now, if you go back and check out that video, you'll see how it compares to the R3. I'm actually never ridden a KTM, so I guess we'll find out today. So not only is this my first ride, it's actually my first review too on it. So we'll check it out. Definitely love the color scheme, I'll say that. And of course, before we jump into the video, we'll be talking about the price, the weight, body style, features, as well as comfortability. So without further ado, let's get into it. Start the video off with price. So Flip My Cycle is selling this bike for $4,800. However, base price is $3,900. It can vary, of course, depending on the mileage and the features that the bike possesses. However, if you do want to look into this bike, hit up Flip My Cycle and they can work it out with you. The weight of this bike, the dry weight of this bike is 324 pounds, and the wet weight is 364 pounds, which is 4 pounds less than the R3 that we talked about in last review. I can't really feel it though, honestly. But at the end of the day, regardless, each pound definitely makes a difference. This bike actually has end mirrors on them. My first time riding with them, and it's actually pretty cool. I think it's pretty convenient. Look. Pretty convenient. I can only imagine how good and agile it'll be on the track, to be honest. The body style of this is narrow, and it's also tall. Like, I'm on a very, very tip of my toes. Like, pretty high. It gives me the exhaust gives me 250 vibes. So if you guys go back and look at the Kawasaki 250 review that I did, like this is what the bike would sound without the exhaust that it had on it. So it's not intimidating or aggressive at all. So keep that in mind. However, you can always buy your own slip-on and put it on and give it the sound that you want it to have. So let's be mindful of that. It definitely has a nice panel on it. It tells you what gear you're in. It tells you how fast you're going. It gives you your gas mileage. So like the last bike, like any of the bikes I rode, didn't tell you how much how much gas you get on average. So that's different. But other than that, everything about this is pretty basic. So one thing that I did notice is that this bike doesn't have the aggression that I thought it would. It's like pretty rough on takeoff. One thing that I did not know is I thought the back of this seat was a cowl. That's actually the seat. That's the design of the bike. So that tripped me out and threw me off a little bit. I was like, wow. I'm gonna hop on the highway and we're gonna see how fast we can get it. Now, given the time that it takes for me, I only go 2 miles in a straight line to see how fast this bike can go. So if you guys actually take it out further, I'm pretty sure you can get these bikes up a little bit more. Alright guys, so I did not give this bike its fair chance to go ahead and open up and show me what it's about and if it can top the R3. And that's because it's super windy and somebody actually flashed their lights at me as if the cops was ahead. And the last thing I want to do is get a ticket on these people's bikes. So you really got to know the sweet points of, I guess, any bike you ride, but you really pay attention and focus in on it with these smaller CC bikes. So I think that's honestly a good thing, just because that forces you to really learn a bike. Like what RPMs to shift at, or I mean, technically you could go ahead, pull on the throttle and just jump right out of first gear anyway. I mean, that's what I do for the most part, but yeah, these are the bikes that you get to focus in on your fundamentals. So KTM is actually the name of the company that manufactured this bike. I cannot pronounce it at all, so you guys will have to Google that one. I cannot pronounce it, and I'm not trying to mess that up dramatically, because I definitely would. So looking into KTM, a lot of people think these bikes are from India, but they're Austrian bikes. And what got these bikes on the market is how pocket friendly these bikes are said to be. I never owned one, I never ridden one, I have seen them, but I'm not entirely too sure. Riding it right now, it's pretty fun. I'm just cold as crap. Hey, so remember what I mentioned about the R3, the brake fluid? Here's another one, and another one. I really like the color scheme of this bike. I know if y'all listening on my last review videos, y'all know that I said black, white, and red, but this orange, it gives this bike a very bold look. It's also loud, and what I mean by loud is like your bright colors is it's easy to point somebody out. Let's hear how the horn sounds. Woo! Comfortability of this bike, I'm actually leaned over a little bit more than I was on the R3 and the 250. However, like it's like the middle basin of the bike is just wider, so it like forcing me to be on my very, very tiptoe. So I wouldn't mind it. They probably like, what? Get out of here with your little putt. Y'all seen the way this lady just looked at me in this car? Like, oh please, putt. It's not as aggressive as that R3 was. And I don't typically go on a thing with expectations, because expectations lead to disappointments. A feature of this bike is that it actually has shift/RPM control, and what happens is that it tells you when to shift by, of course, raillining itself. But yeah, I recommend this as a track bike opposed to a first bike, just so you could get the most out of it. Of course, you could get the most out of anything by just spending more time with it, honestly. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and of course, as always, until next time, guys. Hey, shout out to Flip My Cycle for letting me do another review on one of their bikes.